Hey guys, and welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. Today we will be painting another fall inspired painting, but before we get to that, I just want to let you know that there are some new paints in my shop. So it is an autumn and winter collection, and also I have restocked my shop with palettes, and if you want to check that out, there is a link in the description box. I did do my sketch on just a regular printing paper, another paper, and then trace it onto watercolor paper. This one is slightly more complicated, so I did not want to leave any smudges and erasing on my good watercolor paper. There is, of course, a link in the description box for a free sketch if you want to get it for yourself, download it for yourself, trace it, and just join in this fun, super fun, again, autumn video. And I did, after tracing my sketch, I used a graphite paper and then just used the kneaded eraser to lighten my sketch and remove the excess graphite. Then I pre-wetted the paper, actually the part where the window is, and now I'm just picking up some colors from that autumn collection I was talking about earlier. Some nature green, then sweet yellow, and at the end leaf orange. Just tapping them onto the window, making it look like there is something behind that window, but it's actually blurred and we cannot really see that. Now I'm using some turquoise blue from the Dream collection, just again adding it onto the window here and there, some splatters. I do want to make it very blurred, and I did leave it to dry slightly somewhat and then just painted the flower. I decided I want to make it a sunflower, so I picked up some sweet yellow and leaf orange and I'm just painting the petals. And now using some red to brown and black with twist to paint in the center of the flower. I do want to make one part of the flower a little bit lighter, where the petals are turned, where they are folded somewhat. And now mixing in leaf green and soft brown to paint the, I guess this is a mug. It's not really a vase, it's a mug with flowers. So I'm just painting that mug, looking where the, I guess, leaves are from the flower bouquet, and I'm just leaving that part white because, you know, watercolors are transparent, so if you want to paint some part a different color, well, you should definitely skip that. Adding a little bit of sweet yellow to my mug and some details with this time soft brown, just making some parts a little bit darker, making it look like they're in shadow. And also on this other side of the mug, where I do want that part to be a little bit darker. For some reason I was just fussing a lot around that little flower. I've painted it, then it just looked too dark. You will see later on I will pick up, for some reason I will pick up the paint. For the pumpkin I'm using a leaf orange, and also I will be using soft brown and sweet yellow. And I'm just painting that first slice and second slice, leaving some part between those parts white, just to make the distinction between the slices. Later on we will be doing a lot more details, but for now I'm just doing that, adding a little bit of orange, a little bit of the yellow, and some soft brown. And you can see straight away how when you leave some parts white, you can see the distinction between those slices, and the paint is not bleeding from one slice to another and just smudge creating one ball. It is staying where you put it, because there is some dry spot in between those slices, and the paint goes only where the water is, and where there is no water, it doesn't go. Watercolors don't go there. So you can just also create the slice and the distinction between the slices. Now I have mixed in a little bit of the turquoise blue, some tiny bit of leaf orange, and a little bit of black with twist. I do want to create some grayish color, so of course you can just use any colors you like to create gray, maybe some blue and darker brown, and just painting in the window. This is an old window, it's beat up, so it has some chips on it, and it's far from perfect. So I'm not painting it perfectly like a new window. As I said, it is an old window. Just adding a bit more details with this flat brush, and now with the detail brush from Panart, I'm just adding a little bit more of the details to that wood. And maybe some smudges on the window. And as I said, the paint chipped, so we can see beneath the paint that darker grayish color. These are the chips. Just going back and forward on my painting, adding those details. I'm using almost a dry brush with paint in it to create those dry brush strokes, and now just painting in the lower part, and then also doing some shadows, adding with same colors but this time a little bit more saturated. I've added some shadows, and now I've painted in a little bit more that flower, and also adding some yellow mixed in with leaf brown to my pumpkin, because when watercolors dry they do tend to be lighter and sometimes looking flat, so I am adding layers to create a little bit more of the depth and to add vibrancy to my painting. Then adding some, this was soft brown to the stem of my pumpkin, and also to the flower, and then to the pumpkin itself, just adding a bit more details again. As I said, layering is the key if you want to have the depth, and if you want to create nice textures, details, layering paint is actually the best way to do that. Next to the stem, I'm adding a little bit more of the paint to making it look like it's going inside, and that's where the shadow is, and also where the pumpkin is has on. Well, I guess today I'm just somehow missing my words again. It's morning when I'm recording this, and well, I guess I haven't woken up yet. And some details. This paint is now dry. It dried fully when I'm adding these details, because I don't want it to bleed. So I'm just adding those details on a dry painting using black with twist and black, just creating those creases, and also a little bit more of the black to the flower, to the center of the flower, to make it quite dark and contrasted to the rest of the flower. some details to the mug, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going back and forward, adding details here and there, layering again, layering, paint. And you don't have to do the same amount of the layers as I do. Of course, that depends on your painting and depends on how dark each of your layers is. And sometimes you won't have to do, I don't know, 5, 6 layers. I am doing more, but you don't have to do as many. If it's not necessary, you can just stop whenever you feel it's enough. For the flowers in a mug, I'm again using a sweet yellow and just tapping it in, looking at my sketch. I do want to make those flowers quite loose, so I won't be painting every single detail. Later on, I will add a tiny bit more details, but I won't be painting every single petal and part of the flower. Now adding just a tiny bit of leaf brown. And you can see the paint is still wet, so where I'm tapping in that leaf orange, not brown, it's just bleeding into the yellow. And now adding some soft brown here and there, creating centers of the flowers. And also this central flower, I'm painting it with that color, adding some green, nature green, to paint in the leaves. In between the flowers also. And right now I'm picking up some rich pink from a dream collection and painting one more flower at the top. And again, you can see it's not really a perfect flower. It's just very, very loose. So if you're struggling with your flowers and the looseness of your flowers, there are many tutorials again on my channel where I do paint flowers and loose flowers. So if you're struggling with this part of the painting, you can definitely check out those tutorials and maybe find a different flower. You don't have to paint the same flower, maybe find a different flower you want to paint here. That's also fine. This is just, keep in mind that this is just an idea, inspiration for your painting, so you don't have to do exactly the same things as I do. Just be inspired by the painting. I did do some branches, and then on top of those branches added some orangey leaves, and again a bit more details to the flowers and leaves. And also I've painted in the shadow beneath the leaves on my mug. And I will leave this to dry and afterwards add a bit more details. Some more details to the pumpkin, distinction between those slices again. Details to the flower, center of the flower. And also adding a little bit more of the pigment to the petals. And just I've added a little bit of leaf orange, and now I'm just with the clean water moving that paint into the petals. A bit more shadows, and now, as I was saying, this fully dried, so I'm adding a bit more details to the leaves just to make the distinction between each leaf, and also adding some yellow again to my pumpkin, creating one more layer, some shine, glazing on top of my pumpkin. I do love to glaze with yellow. I think I've already said that, because it just creates a depth, and I just, as I said, love that. Just using yellow for glazing, it gives some warmth to the colors and more depth. Again, a bit more details to the flower and to the window, just adding again those chips. And with this Posca pen, I will now add a bit more details, some highlights onto my flower, pumpkin, those flowers in a mug, just to create some light there. And I do love Posca pen because it is good for watercolors. Some white pens just don't, they just won't write on watercolors. They are visible when they're wet, and when they dry, they're not visible anymore. And this Posca pen, this has a fine tip. I really, really do like that. So if you're looking for a pen that you can use for doodling on your watercolors, white pen, this one is actually great. I was very happy with that one. I was searching for a while for a good pen, but I just couldn't find it. And when I found this one, I was really happy with it. Bit more details again with black here and there. Just adding the contrast to that white I've added. And again, layering and creating that depth and texture. And with that, I'll be finishing off this video and this painting. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you're enjoying this autumn series painting with me. Please do let me know in your comments. Do you like it, and what would you like me to do, to change, to add? And if you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. There are over 400 tutorials there, so I'm sure you'll find something for yourself. And again, thank you so much for watching, for sticking till the end, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!